This is the best interview I've ever had in my life. I love your line of questioning and getting to what is real. I hooked into Tim, has a childlike quality to him, and I stay with that innocence and don't take that innocence as weakness. When I read the scripture, I I feel truth, good, evil, and I find the good, and let that just pierce the darkness.
I want to say one thing first. I got a lot of harassment. I don't care. It doesn't stick. I did try to go through some comments here earlier, and I can't find anyone saying anything about me. I'm guessing she has my name blocked. I can't find anything about me being a groomer or me being a pedo or whatever. None of that can I find. And I appreciate that, at least. Let me sure. Okay, thank you. Good. You've blocked the slanderous accusations in the comment section, at least. Let's listen to the video.
Like this movie, so you have to.
And I don't need it to be 2 times the speed here. She speaks plenty fast. When I look into Shoe0nHead's eyes, I do see something. I see someone looking back at me there. Unlike Jim Caviezel.
If there is one thing in the world that would make me want to see a movie, it's the entire mainstream media in unison telling me not to see it.
And therein lies my critique of the media. I don't think the media should have gone this hard on it. Vanity Fair actually does write something interesting here, and I believe Shoe repeats it, or at least shares the same ideas. Here, okay, yeah, of course, the highlighted text. If this movie had been released shortly after it was made, that might not have happened. Oh, sorry. In 2018, when Monteverde was making his movie, these critics weren't part of the conversation. And these critics it's all of these critics. I never in a million years imagined that this would be political, he said, of the film, which would become a Ballard biopic, albeit one that takes great liberties with the facts. After all, he says, I saw the piece on child trafficking on the mainstream media. So apparently the director who wrote the movie wrote it without Ballard at first, and then he got introduced to Ballard, and then he created this Sound of Freedom movie instead after that, based around Ballard. So the entire movie wasn't made that way, okay? On mainstream media, I always thought that this was going to be a film that we would all come together over. If this movie had been released shortly after it was made, that might have happened. Sound of Freedom was independently produced for a reported $14.5 million and financed mainly by a group of Mexican backers, according to the filmmakers. And those Mexican backers are billionaires. Billionaires. You know, the people, have you heard of these billionaires? The people who, I don't know, have islands, and they have planes, and they have politicians on the planes, and those politicians land on these islands, and then they have parties with people you don't ask the age of, okay? Those kind of billionaires? Okay, got it. But like many other projects, the film lost its distributor when Disney acquired 21st Century Fox in 2019. Sound of Freedom remained on the shelf until it was picked up by Provo, Utah-based Angel Studios in 2023, with a plan to release the film in theaters around the country. The reason that the controversy surrounding this movie wouldn't have happened then... The reason this controversy around this movie wouldn't have happened back then is because people didn't know about Tim Ballard back then. this movie would probably have been the prompt for all the investigation into him. But those would have come out long after the movie. Well, not maybe long after, but sometime after, making the movie stand on its own instead. But because all of this information has come out about Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel, who it seems have been groomed by this movie, by making this movie. It seems like he was groomed first by Tim Ballard, and then he just went deeper. And that's how he got into QAnon. Through this movie. Through making this movie. And here they say that no claims, no conspiracies, no word political broadly, blah, 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 in the movie. So, yeah. But I can see why you shouldn't just make this blanket statement, don't go watch the movie. If you're a large media production, don't do that. It's idiotic. People won't listen. People will revolt against it. Don't. But also, and it feeds the conspiracy in and of itself, you know? And that's probably the major reason why you shouldn't do it. But still, they're not wrong because of it.
Not to see it. And okay, I know that's a little contrarian brained. I know.
A little?
But I'm at the point in my life where if the mainstream media told me not to put a metal fork in an electrical outlet, I'm putting the fork in the outlet.
Okay.
The taste of freedom. Very trad wife today. Very Little House on the Prairie today. Very QAnon coded. This is a dog whistle. So I just saw the Sound of Freedom. And I want my money back. I waited 2 whole hours for the satanic elite cabal Democratic Party pizza parlor scene that I was promised by the media, and it never came. I bought tickets.
The media told you. They said it. It's not in the movie. They said it's not in the movie.
Under the impression that it was some far-right Q movie. And instead, it was just some boring movie about human trafficking. Would journalists really do that to me? Would journalists really go on the internet and tell lies? For those of you who don't know, Sound of Freedom is an independent film from Angel Studios, based on a true story about Tim Ballard, a federal agent that went undercover and rescued trafficked children in South America. People have criticized the film for being a bit exaggerated, and I tend to agree. I mean, a good federal agent? Really? The Sound of Freedom was actually made around 2018, but was shelved by Disney and then later picked up by Angel Studios. Disney was like, no, sorry, we can't make this movie. We need to make the 500th soulless live-action remake. No time for this, we need to make live-action Moana, even though
That's capitalism. Remember Batgirl? I don't, because it never came out.
the animated one came out like last fucking Thursday. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the movie itself, what I honestly thought about it, if you should see it. Then I'm going to get into the insane media circus surrounding this movie because, oh my god. Also, there is a reoccurring character in the Shoe0nHead cinematic universe that makes an appearance, and when he appears, you will scream. So I'm going to give you an extremely honest review of Sound of Freedom, completely unbiased and from the heart. It was aight.
And yet, Sound of Freedom is one of the best movies I've ever seen in a long time. 10/10 would definitely recommend. It's astroturfed.
It was just a very
And, by the way, I don't think she's astroturfing it. I think she's genuine. But Tim Pool? Oh, that's payola for you. That's payola.
very normal, good movie. It had some pacing issues, there were a few corny lines. Never trust a pedophile. What if that was your daughter, Jorge? Hear that? That's the Sound of Freedom. I don't know why this movie is classified as an action thriller. I expected him to go like Rambo.
It's classified as a documentary, according to his own organization, apparently.
On the traffickers a few times, but that never happened. And I guess like that wasn't the point of the movie. The point of the movie wasn't some like bloodlust action film where a cop goes rogue and just like murders a bunch of dudes. It was just a really real and like raw story about human trafficking. It was very grounded in reality. I teared up about
And we saw Jim Caviezel talk about how he grounds the movies so as not to scare the audience.
So, I wanted the people to have the most real experience that they could have on the screen to a certain point, And then the other balance is when you walk out of this film, your heart's on fire. This thing's unbelievable. It's an incredible movie. So we can't show you all that stuff that I've seen, but I can take you right to the edge, Alfred Hitchcock, and to understand how real it is.
It's kind of like Scientology in a way, It's kind of like how Scientologists talk about helping you. They give you tools to better your life. They show famous people who are in Scientology openly and show, look how famous and successful they are. Ignore the recent rape allegations. But look, Tom Cruise, he's the world's greatest actor, and he's in Scientology. And you can become just as good as him if you just follow our programs. And they start off with actual helpful advice to people, They give them actionable things to do. And then they say, when people have experienced it and they've been given, they've seen improvements in their lives, in their thinking, in their mental health. And the issue is it's always short term. These are things you have to work on long term. But short term, you can do certain things to help yourself, feel better at work and stuff like that. But short term. But then it starts to wane off and they say, but if you really want to change your life, you need this program. And then you need that program. And then you need blah, 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 and eventually they start talking about thetans and how they're corrupting your body and how you need to rid your life of thetans. And only then can you be free. And only when you get to like level 7, 6, 7 out of 8, I think. I'm not read up on my Scientology anymore. Only then will they introduce Sinu. And you go, because you've said yes all the way there. This movie is the same thing. They front you. It's a bait and switch, but I'd call it a front. They front you with a grounded, reasonable dad action comedy. Or not comedy, sorry. Dad action drama, Oh, the white savior going down to Mexico, because everything in South America is Mexico, to save the kids from the salsa, those people. They will look at this movie. They go, oh my God. And then they'll research Tim Ballard and they see like an interview of him talking about all of these missions he's gone on. Or they'll watch like from the raids, And then they'll catch a Jim Caviezel interview, which we've seen in this stream, where he starts talking about adrenochromes and he starts talking about these rings and and QAnon and the Storm and devil worshippers and all of this.
This is to all of the agents that are out there that are very well aware of what's going on with the children, that know a lot and that are scared from coming forward. I saw, I did The Passion of the Christ when the movie was over, two people that had committed murder came forward and turned themselves in. That was how powerful that film is. This one has the reverse. You watch it, you feel God's love and the power in this movie, Sound of Freedom, and it makes you unafraid. I was willing to come forward and speak truthfully on things like adrenochrome, organ harvesting, and was severely reprimanded by much of the media. And they claimed their fact checkers knew more, but they don't know like you guys know. I put you up against them anytime. And so, but it was a burden that I was no longer burdened with anymore. My career, I would never put in front of the children. And I just ask you to look in your heart, to go to the film Sound of Freedom, which is a phenomenal movie which represents you, and let that be your word against what these liars have done for a long, long time. Your word, which is from God, and to speak the truth to the American people. My prayers are with you. I love you guys. Thank you for all the help that you gave me.
We talked, you'd brought up organ harvesting, and that's something I didn't realize that we were going to get into that. Is that in the film? Did we talk about that in the film?
No. It doesn't go into that.
Okay.
We don't go into that.
Okay.
We go into the trafficking part of it. It's the going into what I had to look at to get to where I needed to go. All right, you have 4 children. It's 4th of July. You're sitting outside there, and you don't want to know about all the bad things that are going on. Your child's taken. You're never going to see that child again. Now, go to that mother and father and ask them, would you have wished you had some sort of plan that could have prevented that from happening? They're going to say yes, but they won't. They won't do it. And if you just looked around, the film is powerful because when you watch it, you learn, oh, these are the warning signs. This is how routinely it occurs. This is what they're looking for. Then when you're looking, and it's what I talked about earlier, God here, it's like Michael the Archangel, you're with you, and you're a stalker. You're a predator. You're letting them know. You'll go after them. And they don't want anything to do with this, so the great white walks away.
And then he says, but the fact checkers, you can't trust them. Only the fact checkers I choose, okay? And people go, yes, because they bought the Tim Ballard lie, so they're going to buy this lie. And then they go down the road. That's how the game is played. I've spent the entire weekend and the entire day researching this. It has been a lot. Polaris, Freedom, Happiness Now, Countering QAnon. We're just gonna. I've read this entire thing except for the timeline and I've read the report, not the in-depth methodology or the entire timeline, but I've gathered enough of the information in this report, and here are the key findings. We're just going to read this. Disinformation about human trafficking serves as a gateway narrative that radicalizes susceptible audiences to condone and even perform acts of violence and terrorism. This ultimately possesses a threat to the national security of the United States. It's not just the United States. This is going to be used everywhere. I'm seeing it here in Sweden as well. We need to protect the kids. I've heard family talk like that. It scares me, knowing the information I know. The fallout from disinformation about human trafficking has a profound harmful impact on victims and survivors of human trafficking. The amount of time Polaris spent responding to false reports about the Wayfair conspiracy theory could have been used to respond to an additional 42 trafficking cases. Tim Ballard have spread Wayfair disinfo. A significant portion of the U.S. population is susceptible to being radicalized. 21% of U.S. Adults self-identify as QAnon believers. 21%. 41% of U.S. adults believe that elites, politicians, and or celebrities are involved in global pedophile rings. I don't know about global. That's like the one thing I'm... Global? Not necessarily. We don't need global pedophile rings, okay? In spite of deplatforming efforts by social media companies, white supremacists and other violent far-right extremist groups on encrypted chat platforms are using human trafficking disinformation as a way to recruit disillusioned QAnon followers to join their movement. A coordinated multi-stakeholder effort is needed to develop and implement strategies to impart the truth about human trafficking in a way that is compelling to both susceptible audiences and to audiences already convinced of the false narrative. They talk about in the report. Why is no? Oh, thank God! I thought I froze. They go on to talk in the report about how they use the child trafficking disinformation, and how this is probably gonna be a mainstay in radicalization. Okay, we're gonna see every far right radical movement, every conspiracy theory surrounding child trafficking. That's going to be like a mainstay, kind of like Illuminati. You know, that's going to be right next to Illuminati. Illuminati is going to be the child pedo rings. And that's not to say, and I haven't said it in this stream, but that's not to say that there aren't child pedo rings. Just that you don't battle it. And it doesn't look like the way our and Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel and all the other people involved in this describe it. That's the critical difference. This is not what PDF files are doing generally. The biggest organization involved in kitty diddling is the Catholic Church. Jim Caviezel is a Catholic. Tim Ballard is a Mormon. Now, I don't know about you. Oh, what? Thank you, AP. Okay. Arizona court upholds clergy privilege in child abuse case. They've been protecting child abusers in the Mormon Church as well. This is not unique to billionaires, elites. Well, actually, I mean the church elders are absolutely elites. The Catholic Church is absolutely elite. I'm not hearing Tim Ballard or anyone else involved in this talk about the church. Probably because she is dating a Catholic, a deeply devoted Catholic.
3 times, maybe 4 times. I actually teared up during the corny ass "that's the sound of freedom" part. I was like so mad at myself for that. And a really important part that I just cannot stress enough is how apolitical this movie was. There was no politics,
By
no
design.
culture war, nothing about the gays,
That's
nothing
we've
about
seen.
the Jews. I left the theater like, That's it. It had no real narrative besides human trafficking bad, which is why I find the media's reaction so interesting. Article.
If ISIS, just to grab a random organization, if ISIS made a movie attacking bigotry, do you think it might be propaganda even if you can't detect it? Maybe. Do you think maybe if Scientologists did a movie based on L. Ron Hubbard's writings, it's intended as propaganda, but only if it succeeds? There's been a movie made by John Travolta, Battlefield Earth. It's an amazing movie. It's a it's a corny movie. It's got 1 star. Came out in 2000s. Now, this movie didn't succeed, obviously. But if it had, there's no doubt in my mind that Scientologists would use it as propaganda. Look at how successful our movie was. And that's only thanks to our programs that you can take care of if you look here. Just pay us $2,000 every week.
After article after article, smearing this movie as far-right QAnon propaganda. Now, what exactly is the Q connection in this movie? What connects this movie?
I wonder, by the way, let's see here, Vanity Fair, Battlefield Earth. Nothing. Rolling Stones magazine. There we go. And Battlefield Earth. Not Earth. What? Battlefield Earth. Whatever. Let's do custom range. Let's see what people were saying about this movie when it came out. 2001. 01. There we go. And I want news. Really? There was nothing? Nobody talked about it even? That's even better. Like I said, that's what I wanted to happen to this movie. But I'm guessing... Hey, here we go. Not a Swedish one. Battlefield Earth. The founder is Scientology. The film contains no evidence of Scientology or any other systems of thought. It is shapeless and senseless, without a compelling plot or character we care for in the slide. Director Roger Christian has learned from better films that directors sometimes tilt their cameras, but has not learned why. So they're just ragging on it. All right. John Travolta again faces accusations of peddling Scientology propaganda 23 years ago. This time through his latest film, the sci-fi folly Battlefield Earth. Entertainment Weekly reports that the cult awareness group Cult Watch has charged that the movie adapted from a novel of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard contains subliminal pro-Scientology messages, and that the controversial sect secretly financed the film. Insists producer and star Travolta there's no correlation at all to Scientology. Even in the preface, Hubbard made it clear that this is simply a science fiction book. Director Roger Christian chimes in, I know there are wars going on against the church, and I knew we would be used for that. Okay, you knew that. But when people have asked if there are subliminal messages, I've said, yes, there are, because I've buried messages about Buddhism. I'm basically a Buddhist, and I'm at the helm of this thing. So if anyone should accuse the movie of promoting something, it should be my philosophy. So...
after article smearing this movie as far-right QAnon propaganda. Now, what exactly is the Q connection in this movie? What connects this movie to QAnon? Like, I don't know, maybe I missed the adrenochrome scene. Maybe Hillary Clinton came out and sacrificed a baby while I wasn't looking or something. So I went to the Wikipedia just to be sure I didn't miss any of the good scenes. Although the film does not mention any QAnon conspiracy theories. Oh. There was none. Caviezel has endorsed the belief that child traffickers drain children's blood to obtain adrenochrome, a chemical with supposed anti-aging properties. Okay, but doesn't Peter Thiel literally do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not really, but yeah. He's a fucking psycho. But this movie is about people in Colombia. Do you think Peter Thiel has to go to Colombia if he wanted to? I'm not saying he does, but if he wanted to, do you think he has to go to Colombia to get in on the action, so to say?
So basically the main actor believes in some insane conspiracy theory about rich people trafficking children or something like that.
Well, and Tim Ballard as well.
Who believes in that crazy nonsense, am I right? Not me. No, but apparently he believes in like a bunch of QAnon type stuff. And he's a little kooky.
And Christ is your sword. May you join Saint Michael and all the angels.
He's promoting the movie.
Defending God.
I believe here he was actually raising money for the movie. For the tickets, I think. That scheme, I think.
Sending Lucifer and his henchmen straight right back to hell where they belong.
But who among us is not a little kooky? He's an actor in the movie. He didn't direct the movie. He didn't write the movie. So I don't know why all the criticism of the actor and his opinions are being lumped in with... Who is getting arrested out there? Stop it. Tom Cruise is a f***ing Scientologist. I didn't hear anyone shitting and pissing about the new Mission Impossible movie being a dog whistle for Scientology. You think...
Because Tom Cruise doesn't go around advocating for Scientology when doing pressers for the movie. Tom Cruise doesn't connect Mission Impossible and Scientology because he is a Scientologist. So, I mean, we've seen Jim Caviezel. I've shown Jim Caviezel promote QAnon right next to this movie. But we're not supposed to connect the two, okay?
Hollywood isn't infested with the weirdest fucking people
Yeah, Jim Caviezel.
you'll ever meet in your life. An actor having conspiracies about rich, powerful pedophiles is probably the most sane thing you're gonna find there. In fact, you'll probably just find rich, powerful pedophiles. Sound of Freedom.
Mm-hmm. And yet you trust some of them to depict the reality?
Is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer. Caviezel, best known for being tortured to death in Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ. What a bizarre way to describe someone playing
It's kinda
Jesus
bizarre.
in a movie. That's like someone playing JFK and being like, best known for getting his head blown off by the CIA. Also, yeah, maybe it is kind of a superhero movie for dads. Like Taken. Dads have children and will probably have a lot of empathy for children. It actually shows a lot of men crying. The QAnon movie, destroying toxic masculinity. It's a stomach-turning experience, fetishizing the torture of its child victims and lingering over lush preludes to their sexual abuse. At times, I had the uncomfortable sense that I might be arrested myself just for sitting through it. What?
I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard there are depictions of young kids in it doing cuties-like things.
Were you horny? This movie didn't show much of anything at all. Maybe you walked into the movie theater where they were showing cuties. As implausible as the movie is, it invents a finale where Ballard journeys deep into a jungle alone to pluck a girl from the clutches of guerrilla militants, which he accomplishes by posing as a doctor distributing cholera vaccines. One wonders if it was extreme enough for Caviezel's liking. So this happened in the movie, but I wonder what the actor thinks of it because he believes in something else.
Yeah. And he learned that something else from Tim Ballard, who he plays in the movie. Now, forgive me for taking Jim Caviezel at his word when he says, we don't show this so we don't scare people, but we take them to the edge. And then they can do their own research. But not the research that the researcher wants because they're educated. You need my researchers. Forgive me for taking him at his own word.
You know, the things we talked about can all be verified. So all you fact checkers out there, these fact checkers, you can go to college for that, get a master's degree in fact checking. You know, don't public stop falling for this fact checking stuff. They need me, my fact checkers. One of them.
Did you get that? Let's do that in real time. Let's remove the double speed.
About can all be verified.
Wait.
The things we talked about can all be verified.
Can it? Can it now?
So all you fact checkers out there, these fact checkers.
You see that? Did you see that wink, by the way?
These fact checkers. You go to college for that, get a master's degree in fact check.
He's mocking education because he's stupid, and because QAnon, as any other conspiracy, demands that you deny reality.
Checking, don't public stop falling for this fact checking stuff. They need.
The public must stop falling for this fact-checking stuff.
To meet my fact checkers. One of them, and we mentioned him earlier. He'll verify all the stuff that I've told you.
You mean Tim Ballard? Or maybe Mel Gibson?
So those guys, they should be terrified of those guys.
Fact-checking's turned into suppression.
Fact-checking's turned into suppression. Really? Really?
Yes, it is.
He just agrees.
Bingo.
Fact-checking's turned into suppression when you can't fact-check. Okay,
We were so
forgive me.
close to actually reviewing the actual movie. The actor has taken to repeating the most grotesque falsehoods of the sprawling QAnon ideology, among them that traffickers are harvesting children's organs. Compared to this nonsense, Sound of Freedom is relatively grounded in our universe. Okay? But that mainstream accessibility makes it a valuable recruitment tool. A valuable recruitment
Yes.
tool? Oh no, if you watch The Sound of Freedom, you're gonna go down the right-wing rabbit hole. On the
Just like Passion of the Christ was a Christian recruiting tool.
QAnon message board Great Awakening this week, adherents celebrated the movie's box office success. Damn, that's crazy.
They're seeing it as their movie. And none of the people involved directly said, I disavow those people. Because they believe it themselves.
Crazy, bro. I wouldn't know that because I don't go on QAnon message boards like you apparently do. I love that
What that, so again, I've already seen that. I knew it was coming, but that's the weirdest critique I've ever heard. Oh, you actually listen to the people who you critique? Oh, it's like, so the critique I have of the movie is everything surrounding it makes it QAnon conspiracy fodder. And they critique me for not having watched the movie, despite watching the movie couldn't destroy my critique of the movie. Because my critique has nothing to do with the movie. It has to do with the marketing of the movie. But she goes, oh, but you haven't watched it. But now she said, oh, why do you watch QAnon boards and then claim this is QAnon conspiracies? How else do you know if it's QAnon conspiracies?
criticism of this movie is being stretched this far. It will surely do no good to point out Sound of Freedom's white savior narrative. I mean, it is kind of based on a true story, so like...
True story, based on a true story means jack shit.
He is white. He technically is a savior, so yeah, I guess he's a white savior?
He's not a savior. Everyone who knows him, who has worked with him, tells the story of how he endangers people's lives, how he does it for sensationalism, for money. He is just fame hungry. That's all. He just wants money and he wants fame. And now he's got it.
I'm sorry they didn't race swap the main character. I bet if Disney produced this like they were originally gonna do.
Nope. Here's what they should have done. Made a movie about how child traffickers work in America. You know, so that the people watching it can actually learn something that is useful for them. Rather than going away to a land far, far away that nobody will ever set their foot in.
Maybe he would have been a woman or something.
Oh, and apparently in the movie, and this happened in real life as well, apparently, they dress up as doctors. Doctors. And then they went into this village in the jungle, and they started asking around for kids. And then the elders chased them out of. And this is apparently badly depicted in the movie, but then the elders chased them out with guns. Because why are you coming here asking for children, you fucking weirdos? Yeah. And why are you dressed up as doctors? That's going to hurt every effort to help the third world with medicine, with vaccines, but they don't care about that. Helping them with vaccines, that's going to hurt them. No. Just vitamins. That's all you need. Just vitamins. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting that to dress up as doctors falsely. The same goes with there's things that at least they claim, the CIA, they claim today to never do it. There are certain roles they will never dress up as. At least, again, they claim. I don't trust them, but this is the claim, and I like the claim. I hope they live up to the claim. But the claim is that they do not dress up as holy men or doctors anymore, medical staff. For the simple reason that people need to be able to trust them. And Tim Ballard fucking that up.
Or something, but no. There's visible suffering all around us in America. There are poor and unhoused, and people brutalized or killed by police. There are mass shootings, lack of healthcare, climate disasters, and yet, over and over, the far right turns to these sordid fantasies about godless monsters hurting children. Okay, wait, I agree, but like, can we not care about those things and also care about other stuff at the same time? I wish the far right cared about that other stuff, but like, I don't know, I feel like they're allowed to care about like this topic too. Also, calling it fantasies is like really weird. Like, it's based on a true story, it's still a real
Again, means jack shit.
thing that happened and does happen. Sound of
So, okay, I wanted her to just talk for a moment. The critique here that she is ignoring is the things that are laid out here in black and white, highlighted even, are the things that would actually help trafficked people or prevent people from becoming trafficked. Going in, guns blazing, Rambo style to save the kids in Guantanamo. Not in Guantanamo, of course. In Chile. You know, that kind of stuff. It does nothing. Again, it creates a demand when they waver on the money. But they don't address the underlying issue, which is poor people, marginalized people, police departments often are in on it. They are paid off. They ignore all of those critiques and instead go for the sensationalism because that sells. And that's why this is a sordid fantasy about godless monsters hurting children. That's why them caring about this hurts, actually, rather than helps. We need to get to the underlying issues, not the superficial ones that they like to care about.
Like, it's based on a true story. It's still a real thing that happened. And
No, it
does
isn't.
Happen. Sound of Freedom is an anti-child trafficking fantasy fit for QAnon. Again with the QAnon in the title. Again, also calling it a fantasy. Are these journalists like all in the same group chat? Are they all in like the same Discord server just copying each other's work? A few qualifications.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Or they're wondering, or they're reading each other, you know, in the newspaper. Have you seen this piece by that person? Oh, I used to work with them. What have they written? Oh, look at that. Oh my God. And then they dive deeper and, hey, they wrote for this smaller outlet. Let me put it on in Vice or in Vanity Fair or Daily Beast or whatever, you know? And maybe people can learn something about who the people behind this movie are and why that's problematic.
Up front. The exploitation of children is a real problem that no one besides the exploiters wants. Well, okay, at least we can all agree on that. And most of the article is just about the actors' opinions.
Yeah, because he conflates the opinions with the movie.
The movie itself is well acted, it looks expensive, and it moves at a rapid clip. I feel no urge to ever see it again, but I can't say I wasn't entertained in some way. Oh, of course, this is tailored to go down easy. That's how propaganda works.
Yep.
God damn it. Sound of Freedom, the QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America. I love this. QAnon tinge. QAnon adjacent. I love how, this has very QAnon vibes, sweetie. It's supposed to just be good enough to turn people away from this movie. Like, I imagine my mom reading this. She has no idea what QAnon is. Like, what does this even mean to the average person?
How can you live in America and don't know what QAnon is? That's like the one thing you should know about. Why did January 6th happen? Oh, QAnon, okay. He has no idea what QAnon is. I don't believe you. I do not believe you.
Because they can't call the movie QAnon, because it's not. Oh look, more of the actor's opinions. He's a fucking conservative, of course he's retarded. The uninitiated may not pick up on the red yarn and corkboard subtext pinned to a mostly straightforward extraction mission in South America, pretty much taken with a faint whiff of something noxious in the air. Those tuned in to the eardrum frequency of QAnon, however, have heeded a clarion call that leads right to the multiplex. The traffickers are anonymous foreigners, mentioned as rebels, in an unspecified regional conflict with no connection to the alleged Clinton crime family. A coating of plausible deniability covers a film that takes care to be the most anodyne version of itself, all while giving those in the know just enough to latch onto. Yeah, so this movie had nothing to do with QAnon whatsoever, but it secretly did. These
I'm just repeating myself.
strains of scaremongering are absent in the text itself, but they lurk in the shadows. There's nothing bad in the movie, but it's lurking in the shadows. I'm gonna be completely honest, I think you might be the conspiracy theorist here. QAnon and Sound of Freedom both rely on tired Hollywood
There we go.
tropes by Noah Berlatsky. Noah Berlatsky. Noah Berlatsky. Where do I know that name? Meet Noah Berlatsky. Now, our friend Noah has some interesting takes. Pedophiles are essentially a stigmatized group. Certain people get designated as deviants. People hate them. Parents are tyrants. Parent is an oppressive class, like rich people or white people. He also wrote a few blogs on the Prostasia website. Child sex workers' biggest threat: the police. Okay, let's back up for a second. There's no such thing as a child sex worker, Noah. That's called a human trafficking victim. He's the
I do not disagree with what she's saying here.
fucking journalist who got mad at me like a year ago for criticizing the Netflix movie Cuties. Angel Studios, which created the thriller, insists that the movie itself isn't related to QAnon, and after sitting through the 2-hour-long movie, I think Angel Studios has a point. The film doesn't explicitly reference QAnon talking points. Instead, in many ways, it echoes and reproduces themes and tropes around trafficking that are common in mainstream Hollywood cinema. The literal
Yeah. And then Jim Caviezel connects the two. And the people will listen. But also, that's kind of the problem. Why didn't Taken get celebrated? Was it Taken 5? Taken movie series. How many are there on? Taken 3? 2014. Okay. So that came out. But where was this movement of people being like, oh my God, people are getting trafficked? Or You Were Never Here. I haven't heard of this movie before, but I want to see it now. Came out in 2017. Where was QAnon here? It's a perfect QAnon movie, you know? Did it come out late or early in the year? Release date May 2017. March 9th. Oh, that can. So March 9th, 2018. April 6th, 2018, was when it came out in the US. QAnon was in full swing at that point, right? Full swing. So why didn't they latch on to that one? And that's an action movie. That's an action movie about kids being kidnapped and exploited in America by powerful people in America, you know? And apparently there's a police conspiracy involved in it. You know, why didn't they latch on to that one?
pedophile simp was more fair to this movie than the average journalist.
Does that make you a pedophile simp?
He goes on to talk about how the movie is like inaccurate because 41% of children are actually trafficked from people they know like in their family. And maybe that's true, but like I don't understand how that's a valid criticism of the movie because the movie is based on one thing, like a real thing that happened.
She keeps going back to this. It is embarrassing. Embarrassing to think based on a real story means anything. That's, if I say that, but it's based on a real story, kill me. Just do it. I don't care.
It's like watching a movie about a plane
I'm clearly not me anymore then.
crash and being like, actually more people die in car accidents. They just kind of seem like they're reaching for literally anything.
No. However, if you make a big blockbuster movie, which obviously this has become due to the astroturfing we talked about, and you claim it's based on a real story, and you connect it in interviews with bad things, people are gonna associate the bad things with the real story.
Is Sound of Freedom a QAnon dog whistle? Or is it just another thriller? The answer is that, whatever the filmmaker's intentions, it functions as both. Great, awesome, thank you. Thank you as always, Noah, for your delightful contribution to the discourse. I love this large disclaimer at the bottom here. We do not claim this man. If this movie came out a few years
So, gold, yellow, Fred Perry polo. Have you ever seen this polo before? Is this polo something you're familiar with? It looks awfully familiar to me. Where have I seen it before? Where have I seen that before? Proud Boys. What? Oh, they've added a white line. Wait, is it gold? Wait, gold. No, come on. I know they've pulled it from at least the US market. They might have pulled it all together since then. Maybe. It's possible. The reason they pulled it from the American market to North American market is because of this. They didn't want to be associated with the Proud Boys. They saw what was happening and they said, we don't like that. So they pulled it. They said, we're being used by far-right extremists to help them spread the message. And we don't like that. So we're going to pull the product. That's, if they don't condemn it at the very least, they are condoning it. This is how you handle it. You pull the product. You condemn the people. And nobody will think you are involved in it. And that's how QAnon dog whistle, or is it just another thriller? The answer is, whatever the filmmaker's intentions, it functions as both. That's how this sentence is true. It can function as both. The Fred Perry gold double-striped black polo is just a polo that Fred Perry put out, but it functions as propaganda for the Proud Boys unless they pull it from the market.
Large disclaimer at the bottom here. We do not claim this man. If this movie came out a few years ago like it was supposed to, I really don't think anyone would have cared. People were literally coming.
Yeah, we saw that in Vanity Fair. She's just echoing that sentiment, sure. Here we go. Here's me. Here's the drama. Here's the tea.
Came out a few years ago like it was supposed to, I really don't think anyone would have cared. People were literally coming at
people, she said, people were literally coming at her.
At me like, oh, don't see this movie, it's a QAnon movie, and I'd be like, how is it a QAnon movie? And they'd be like, I don't know, I didn't see it. Then shut the fuck up. These people are
Shoe, I'm going to speak directly to you now. Oh, that wasn't my intention. I was actually trying to go here. This is the only tweet you're showing. And then you say, people got at you, but you're just showing me and you're cropping me. Remember what I had here? Did I watch Birth of a Nation? Fuck no. I still know it's KKK propaganda. Did I watch Cuties? Fuck no. I still know it's creepy as hell. I don't need to watch it for that. And my critique of the movie, if you hadn't blocked me, you might have learned this, has nothing to do with what's in the movie. And I think I've conclusively proven that in this stream.
QAnon movie and they'd be like, I don't know, I didn't see it. Then shut the up. These people are literally just being told, the people
These people, again, just me,
you don't like this movie, so you have to not like it. You literally don't have to do that. Nobody has a gun to your head. Nobody's telling you to run off.
remember she said, if media tells me not to stick a fork in an outlet, I'm going to do it. Remember that? The people don't like it, so she has to like it now. You know, that's her brain. This is projection, Shoe. This is projection. I've read about Jim Caviezel before. I'm gonna admit it. Okay. I'm gonna meet you halfway. Can we meet each other halfway here, Shoe? My tweet was badly written, badly formulated. But I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I've proven that extensively in here. Everything I've read about this person, everything I've read about this organization, everything I've read about Tim Ballard just screams charlatan to me. Jim Caviezel screams of psychopath. Hollywood psychopath. The worst there is. And you think that means nothing for the movie? He doesn't pick movie. He said, this is the most important movie after Passion of the Christ. And why did he do Passion of the Christ? Because he wanted to bear the cross. That was his cross to bear. He didn't want to get crushed under the cross. He wanted to be crucified.
I picked up the phone and I said, yeah, I was busy. And he goes, hey, Jim, it's Mel. I said, Mel who? And he goes, I don't know, Mel Brooks. Hey, he was smoking a cigarette. And he goes, do you still want to play this Jesus guy? If you do, you may never work in this town again. And I was like, scared. It scared me. I was telling you, I just bought a Lamborghini. And I was, I'm gonna have to give all this stuff back. And I was scared for a moment. And then this peace came over me. And I could feel it. It was from heaven. And I said, look, man, we're all called to carry our cross. If you don't pick up and carry your cross, you will be crushed by the weight of it. And then he got really quiet on the phone.
The dude has apparently, reportedly, told an executive that he is Jesus Christ. The dude is Coco. He thinks he's a Navy SEAL because he trained with the Navy SEALs once. He's friends with Navy SEALs, and that makes him Navy SEAL, apparently. Here. This is... What's that? Why are you wearing a Navy SEAL badge? This badge is for Navy SEALs. This is called stolen valor. But he actually thinks that he's one of them. Here's reports from people who worked with him on set of a person of interest. Dude is a crazy Christian religious nut who also believes in all the crazy Q shit. He's compared himself in the past to Jesus and John Paul II. Him, along with Mel Gibson, believes they'd be persecuted for filming Passion of the Christ, and believes he still is, literally described himself as one of the top 5 actors in Hollywood before filming Passion. Sure. On the set of Person of Interest, everyone considered him the dumbest man alive, which is also why he's so dangerous on the set above everything else. Apparently, he choked people out because that's what his character would do. It's called acting. Look into it. In one scene filmed in Manhattan, he's supposed to be driving to chase someone. He's just supposed to pull out and stop the car for the camera. Instead, he goes full blast, runs a red light, and nearly hits 4 pedestrians. When asked why, and I believe they'd had nothing to do with the production, when asked why he would do such a thing, he said, "It's because that's what the character would do." After this, he was quickly banned from any scenes involving him driving, and a stunt double would do that. Hey, Screen Dream, this is the end of the stream, I'm afraid. Let's see here. Well, there was something else I know. He's also racist, homophobe, and misogynist. Who would have thought? Oh, right. He didn't want to shoot a scene where his character rescued a gay couple because it was against his religion. Eventually, he agreed after someone told him about 9/11. I believe that someone is, thank you, Screen Dream, that someone is like a producer or an agent or something, someone above him at least. Eventually, he agreed after someone told him about 9/11 firefighters rescuing everyone, not caring what they believed or who they were with. He then agreed, but went the whole day repeating that as if he believed that what he was doing was as noble as the 9/11 firefighters. He's just walking around like, oh, he's like Trump. And I'm not, this isn't my words. These are the words of QAnon Anonymous, the people you can see here. Listen to this episode if you can. It's amazing. Yeah. But people walk around, he's like walking around going, oh, but you know, the firefighters on 9/11 didn't ask people what creed or sexuality they had. They just saved people. He would do racist and anti-Semitic shit all the fucking time. He would frequently try to guess a person's ethnicity, which was often wrong, and then drop into a fake accent or language based on their perceived ethnicity. For example, he would speak with fake Chinese to an Asian person. The insane catch being that he legitimately believed his fake language was the real language, as in he believed the gibberish he spoke was actually Mandarin Chinese, despite being told by actual speakers that he's just said a bunch of nonsense and not Chinese. The show is here, QAnon Anonymous, episode 143, Jim Caviezel. Just QAnon Anonymous, Jim Caviezel, he'll get this. Right, another incident. He dropped into a fake German when he noticed a new white writer. Everyone's white is German, apparently. In the writer's room. This ties to his Hitler shit. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Person of interest. He goes around solving would-be cases before they happen, pretty much. It's about a computer AI and stuff like that. It's not that good. Dude loved to speak about Hitler and impersonated Hitler. He frequently mentioned how Hitler had the right idea but just went too far, or how Hitler was... Where have I heard this before? Oh, right. Candace Owens. Hitler was really smart about, before adding, but evil... He'd praise how organized and regimental Hitler was. Hitler was neither of those things and was famously disorganized. Again, always trying to add the caveat, but evil. Oh no, Hitler did some good things, but he was evil. He would also impersonate Hitler, believing it to be the funniest thing in the world. This was constant. Showrunners, including Jonathan Nolan, obviously couldn't stand the guy, but he was the lead actor, and so they had to tolerate his behavior. Once the show was over, CBS was looking to cast him in the lead for a Navy SEALs show, so you know, his wet dream. People who worked on the show frantically called CBS executives and boss to get them to understand why that would be such a terrible idea. Again, imagine this dude near weapons. Les Moonves was sent dailies of shit he did on Person of Interest and decided to shut the pilot show down. It apparently got revived. So that's who this person is,
being told the people you
I'm not told by anyone what to think or what to say. I'm just reading about these people. I'm just listening to their words, and I'm taking their words for gospel when they talk about themselves, what they believe in. I trust that they know what they believe in themselves, and they believe this movie is a gateway to QAnon, and the satanic cabal will finally be destroyed. You know, I have a hard time with any police show that isn't The Wire. Yeah. You know what? I need to stay focused. Sorry, Scream. I need to stay focused on this. It's late and I need to end the stream, actually. I need to finish this video.
do that. Nobody has a gun to your head. Nobody's telling you to run offense for the human trafficking movement.
And nobody's telling you to run defense either, Shoe.
Nobody's telling you to run defense for cuties. And yet they do it. And let me make
Who's they in this? You talked about people, but you just showed me, and then you talk about how these people, how they
trafficking movie. Nobody's telling you to run defense for cuties.
running defense for cuties. Shoe, you've only shown me in this video. I'm the only tweet you bring up. And then you talk about people. And you say that when you show the tweet.
It was supposed to. I really don't think anyone would have cared. People were literally coming.
People were literally. And just me. What's up, mi amigo? It's just me. Not people. Just me. I have no words. I have no words to describe the You know, I have one word to describe it. Lying. You're lying, Shoe. Are you dumb? Did you break your head? Did you fall? Did you have a boo-boo? Did someone scramble your brains? What is going on? And remember me. Remember. Oh. There we go. This is the tweet. Did you see it? Did I watch it? No, fuck no, I didn't. Did I watch it? No, fuck no, I didn't. But she removes this. And she removes this part. I've also not watched Cuties, but can tell you it's pedophilic. So, who's these people running defense for Cuties? Shoe?
So you have to not like it. You literally don't have to do that. Nobody's telling you to run defense for cuties. And yet they do it. And let me...
Who's they? Am I they? Because I'm the only person I've
make
seen.
this clear. If you don't want to support
So fuck you, fuck you, Shoe.
movie because you just morally disagree with one of the actors in it,
No.
that's fine.
No.
But don't go around smearing it as the Q movie when it's just actually not. You think if Eyes Wide Shut came out today, they would call it QAnon? Probably. I mean, they did kill the director shortly after. Now, the one big criticism I do
She's so conspiracy brained.
actually share with the critics of this movie is the ending. At the end, after
This was the part that I haven't heard until now. This just exonerates me. Exonerates me. Every critique I've had exonerates me.
the credits, the main character gives
The Godzilla beat?
this little speech about how
You mean the Eminem song? I think this came out. She's had that music since forever. I think it's some generic from YouTube, actually.
important this movie was and how terrible human trafficking is.
Thank you all for coming out and watching this movie. I'm guessing some of you are feeling sad, maybe overwhelmed, or even
This is not the character. It's sampled from Godzilla? Really? Okay. This is not the character. This is the actor speaking here. Remember that.
in a sense of fear, which is understandable. But living in fear isn't how we solve this problem.
And I expected him to like
That's interesting. He's directing the people watching the movie to do something. Oh my God. It's a call to action at the end of the movie from the QAnon actor.
direct the audience to more information or how they can help or charities, but instead he just threw up like a QR code where you can buy more tickets to this movie for other people in order to spread the word. Which I mean, sure, the movie's good and it will get people talking, but what can the average normal person do besides talking about your movie and buying tickets to your movie? It was the last thing we saw before walking out of the theater, and it just kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth. Like, you not only leave the theater feeling sad, you leave it feeling powerless. Like, oh, there's this terrible thing happening and I can't do anything about it except buy more tickets to this movie. I must save the children. It's like me being like,
She's
if
so
you want to
close.
save the children, donate to my Patreon. So do I recommend this movie? Yeah, for 3 reasons.
So she's so close. It's like I'm this close to understanding the critique that people have of the movie. Didn't the conservatives try to astroturf the movie by buying up seats and leaving empty theaters? Yes, and that's what the call to action on the end is, to buy more tickets for other people. And that's how Sound of Freedom sold 10 million tickets, but only by 242,000 contributors. So a lot of people bought a lot of tickets, or few people bought a lot of tickets for other people that never got picked up. It's a complete astroturf, and she gets the image at the end that leaves a bad taste in her mouth, and she still doesn't understand it. She still doesn't understand that that's the point of the movie. The first one, so they're already working on the second movie, and that was in the works from the beginning, probably when they realized, when they saw how popular this paid forward scheme became, because Angel Studios has done this before apparently, but now they tapped into a more broader audience than the Christian fundamentalists. They tapped into QAnon, and they love to spend money on things they think will rid the cabal from this world, you know? So yeah, it's complete astroturf. And they so close to seeing it.
1, it was pretty good. 2, so you can say you actually saw it and your criticisms will be valid. And
Fuck you.
most importantly, 3, to own the libs. So did you
She hasn't done the why I left the left video yet. I don't think she will do that. It's not gonna go over with her audience. It's like Dave Rubin. He was told by Dennis Prager, no, don't come out as Christian or as as a conservative. We need you as a liberal, because that's how we convert people to conservatism. Anna's definitely beating her to it.
You see this movie, and what did you think of it? And if you like this video, please subscribe, donate to my Patreon to save the children. It's the only way you can save the children, hurry!
Like, she's joking, but that's what they did. Yeah, so my main critique is of Shoe in this case, is she's just grifting at this point. I don't know. I hoped that her left-wing trajectory was honest, but I don't think I can claim that anymore. She's losing every friend she has on the left. It's over. It's over for her to as a left-wing grift. Actually, it's quite astounding. Let's see if I had anything else. So, the critique I have of this movie and why it's feeding QAnon, just to cap off this video, how is it feeding QAnon if it's not directly about QAnon? Well, as Jim Caviezel explains in his plethora of interviews that's out there to view if you want to, there's too much for me to go over. This movie will bring people to the edge where they will start asking questions themselves. They might look at interviews with Jim Caviezel, promoting the movie, talking about the experiences of the movie, and that's where he hooks his claws into you. That's where he introduces you to the QAnon conspiracy. Oh, you've seen how the cabal is trying to hide this movie from you, except it's on every theater in the country. But apparently the cabal isn't strong enough to prevent that somehow. You see how the cabal is preventing you from seeing the movie. That's why you need to pay for more. It's I don't know. That's it. Go fuck yourself, Yoon. Shoe, please. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And there's an open invitation to anyone out there. Anyone. You want to debate me on this? You want to talk to me about this? I am open. Shoe, you blocked me. And then you made a video where you called me a fucking pedo apologist. And I was the only one on Twitter you called out. Why? Was it people coming at you? Was it? It's shameful. It's disgusting is the word I'd use. Your behavior is disgusting, June.